Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And as usual, it is your boy, your resident Digiboss, Mr. Karan Rose. DJ, you know what to do. Fade us all the way out, DJ. Fade us out. We got to talk to the people. We got to talk to the family. Digipreneur fam, what is going on, everybody? It is June 1st. My word. You got to love how 2022 is just flying by. Like, the days are going, the time is flying. You know, just the other day it was January and we were saying, you know, Happy New Year. And now we are halfway through the year. So that's, you know, wow, that's crazy. Now, we are at episode number 75. That's exciting. That is exciting to me. I know, you know, past couple of episodes, you know, again, as I'm looking at, you know, counting up where we are with our episodes, and I'm seeing that we're in the 70s and we're coming up to, you know, our 80th episode. I'm just like, wow, this is, again, the time has really flown. And I mean, I believe, I have to go and check, but I believe we started Digipreneur FM last year, July. And we're almost at the 1 year mark of starting the podcast. Crazy, but this has definitely been fun. You know, and as the podcast continues to happen and the Digipreneur FM family continues to grow around the world, you know, I'm enjoying connecting with you guys on social media or via email, you know, or even in person, you know. So it's been fun. But anywho, what are we here for? Mr. Rose, what are we here for today? Today's topic is the 10 types of blog posts that you should be creating in your business or brand right now. And this is a very important topic because I know that there are people thinking everywhere we go, we are hearing about video, short form video, TikTok, Instagram Reels. We're not hearing as much about blogs. Now, as a digital strategist, when I look at all of the different types of content, when I look at, you know, where you're able to put your content, how each type of content works on each medium, and what is the end result of each piece of content from these mediums, people don't realize that blogging is still the most important one. To me, it's not the sexiest, you know. And again, when you're thinking about, you know, what has to go into blogs, you know, it's more work that goes into blogging than, you know, video right now. Because even with video right now, we are moving past. It's not dead, but we are moving past polished, edited video. Now everything is all about, you know, grabbing your phone, vertical video. You have a couple of tools on your phones to edit videos and make it look good, but you're not doing no heavy editing or color grading or, slow motion effects and all that and all that jazz. I'm not saying that it's dead, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that polished video is dead. Edited video is dead. It's not. But in the world of TikTok videos, Instagram reels, or right now, you just want to just turn your camera on, shoot, say what you got to say, do some quick edits, get it out there, and go viral. It's like, why are you wasting time to go through the process of edited video, right? And you're doing that more on YouTube, right? You're not really doing that too much on any of the other platforms. Again, not saying that it's dead. I'm just saying that short form video, quick edits, that is blowing up right now. And that's pretty much been all of 2022. Let's be real. It has been all of 2022, right? That being said, blogging is still the most important piece. And I'm going to give you guys some fun stats. And I'm going to tell you guys why it's still the most important foundational piece. And then we're going to dive into the 10 types of blog posts and how to use them. So let's start it off like this. The number one place that you go to get information is Google, by far. Think about your own habits. You have a question, you want to learn something, you want to figure out where something is, you go to Google first, all right? And the data proves that. Right? According to Statista.com, 68% of all sales start with a Google search. All right? So we take to Google, we put in our questions, our queries, our concerns, our desires. We go there first. All right? Google has over 9.5 billion searches per day. That's almost 2.5 times more than the next most used platform where we go and look for things or we place a search, which is Facebook. Not saying that we necessarily go to Facebook to search for, to get answers to our questions, but Facebook has a search bar, all right? And Facebook comes in second for how many times that search bar is used. And Google by far is in the lead. It's almost 2.5 times more used. Google search is almost 2.5 times more used than Facebook search at second place. So there's over 9.5 billion searches that happen on Google per day. There is no other platform that is used as much as Google. Why is that significant? When you go on Google and you type something in, what shows up on Google? 9 out of 10 results on the Google search engine results page is a link to a website. More specifically, it is a link to a blog or an article or a post on that company or person's website. 9 out of 10 of the search results on that page are a link to a blog, a post, or an article on a company or person's website. So whenever I hear people saying that blogs are dead, you clearly have no idea what is happening in the real world. It is by far not dead. It could never be dead because every result or 9 out of 10 results on the Google search results is a link to an article on a website. Call it a blog, call it an article, call it a post, however you want to call it. All right? And then when it's not a link to an article, it is a link to a video on YouTube, or it's a link to a podcast episode. There's a reason why TikTok has been working with Google to start indexing their content because TikTok wants their TikTok videos to show up on the Google search results pages. So when you type in something, TikTok wants a TikTok section to display a relevant or related video to the search result or the search query that you would have put in. That's how important getting indexed is by Google, because it's the number one place we go to seek all information, right? Google owns 92% of the entire search industry, or the market share, I should say. So 92% of all searches, when you think of, Bing, when you're thinking of DuckDuckGo or Yahoo, all of the other search engines, right? Google owns 92% of the market share. So 92% of all searches happen on the Google platform. And it doesn't matter what search engine you use when you type in something, 9 out of 10 of the results on the search engine results pages are a link to a post on the website. So this is why blogging or creating, post content on your website is still the most important piece of content you can create. It also has the longest shelf life of any content platform. When you post your videos and you post your pictures or your carousels on any social media platform, social media algorithm at max gives you a week before they bury it in the social media algorithms. TikTok is a bit more. I'm realizing that TikTok is giving you a bit more reach. Now, I'm still waiting to see some studies done on the shelf life of TikTok content. I think for me, what I've seen so far is I've been getting likes and comments on content that has been about 2 to 2.5 weeks old. So when I see that, I'm always like, oh wow, I did this video like 2 weeks ago. But that's not the case on any other platform, right? Usually, shelf life for Instagram is like 2 days. So after 2 days, you're not really getting content unless somebody is, going through your page, going through your Instagram page, and they just start to spam the like button on all your content. But typically, when you land on somebody's Instagram page, it's not common for people to start scrolling through all of your old posts and just start engaging on your old content, right? Typically after 2 days, your likes and shares and comments die down after you've posted that new piece of content, right? But again, that's not the case when you are creating content on your website. Because Google and the search engines are an indexing platform, anytime somebody types in a question or a query, the search engines are going to look for the information, grab it from your website, and serve it to the person conducting the search. And that person will then be able to click on the link and then go and read the information. All right? So let me give you guys some other interesting facts, some other interesting stats about blogging, right? To just give you guys some context as to why you should have a website, why you should be blogging. And remember, your written blog, you can take your videos and embed these videos onto your website and have a write-up to accompany the video to aid in your SEO so that you can also show up in the search engine results, right? That's great SEO practice, right? So let me give you guys some interesting stats that I thought were pretty cool when I was preparing for this episode. So number one, one key fact is that 53% of all marketers prioritize blogging as their primary content marketing strategy. So over half of all marketers globally prioritize blogging as their main content strategy. And why? Because of the SEO, because Google is the most used platform. And remember, your social media posts are not going to be indexed by Google, right? But your web content is. Your YouTube videos are, because YouTube is a part of Google. But your Instagram posts are not indexed by Google. This is why TikTok is working with Google to get their stuff indexed, because they want to show up on the results pages, and that's just going to add longevity to the content, All right. And if if you're thinking that blogging has died, no. Over the last 5 years, blogs have grown over 12% in readership. So it has grown. So people reading blogs has grown over 12% in the last 5 years. There's another stat from Statista that says that over 77% of internet users worldwide continue to read blogs. And in the U.S., because we don't have this stat for the Caribbean, but in the U.S., blogs are 3 times more likely to be read than emails. But again, that obviously makes sense because your blogs are public, your emails are not, right? So somebody has to subscribe to your email. But even when somebody has subscribed to your email, that same person is 3 times more likely to read your blog than read your email. All right. So again, interesting stats. Also, a study was done about where people like to get their source of information, and blogs are in the top 5 or viewed as one of the top 5 most reliable sources of information on the internet. All right? Interesting. Again, that is, whether you agree with it or not, that's just what a study has determined, that blogs are in the top 5 of the most reliable sources of information based on a survey that was conducted. All right. So those are some pretty interesting stats surrounding blogs. All right. And again, I would definitely encourage you to start thinking about getting your website, starting that blog, getting your content on your website, because the longevity, blogs, your website have the longest shelf life for your content. It's never going to die. As long as, it's optimized correctly and people are continuously searching for that type of content over time, it could always be pulled up by Google, giving your content a chance to always be viewed even years later. And that just doesn't work on social media. Social media algorithms bury that content. And unless somebody is going to scroll through your Instagram, and go 60 posts back, people aren't doing that on Instagram, let alone Facebook. We're not going through people's old posts on Facebook. We're not going through people's old posts on LinkedIn. We're definitely not going through people's old tweets on Twitter. All right. So, we just don't do it on other social media platforms. TikTok's a bit different, but again, we're going to see more TikTok stats as the time goes on. So let's get into the meat of today's podcast. So if you've been thinking about blogs, right? So I'll throw this out there too. Even if you do not have a website as yet, like you haven't bought your domain, you haven't built your own website, I would definitely encourage you to go and register for medium.com. Go register for medium.com and start getting your feet wet with writing blog content. Because, again, your content on Medium is indexable by the search engines. And you're also going to be able to share those blogs on the different social media platforms and get that content out there. And again, get your feet wet for writing. And then when you're ready, you could always start the process of, buying your domain name, taking out or using a free WordPress theme, or using if you're just blogging, you could purchase your domain and you could use any platform to start building. You could use Wix, Squarespace, Shopify. It doesn't matter. You could use any platform if you are just blogging and trying to get your information out there and build yourself up as a thought leader, right? Now, if you're looking to do e-commerce, that's another conversation. I mean, we've spoken about that in other podcasts. We're not going to touch on that today. But if you're just blogging, you could blog and use any platform you are comfortable with, right? But if you want to get started for free, I would definitely recommend jumping on medium.com, start writing. Medium is free, and then, again, you're going to be able to share the links to your articles on your different social media platforms. So, what are some, let's get into the top types of blog contents to write that when we go on to Google and we're typing in our questions and queries, these are typically the top types of blog posts that do well, that people are looking for when they are trying to get information about, whatever it is that they seek. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. So number one. Now this list is in no particular order of the most popular types. I'm just giving you guys the 10 most popular types, but I have not put them in order. All right. However, my first 3 are going to be like my favorites and 3 that I do see get the most traction. But again, the list is not in any particular order. So number 1 is how-to guides. A how-to post offers a series of specific steps on how to achieve a goal, right? And it's going to take people through that journey from step 1 to step 5. You want to let people know, hey, this is where we're starting and this is where you're going to end up by the end of this blog, right? So how-to blogs are one of the most popular Googled or sought after blogs online, right? People are always constantly trying to learn. And think about it, right? There are times where you want videos for how-tos, and there's times where you want the written stuff. Think food bloggers, all right? I'll tell you this. And again, you can always, think about your own habits and whatnot, right? But when I'm trying to learn a recipe, I would quicker read I would quicker read a blog about the steps to cooking than watching the video. So I would read the video first. And this is why I always appreciate if a blog has the video embedded and then the steps to cooking written out. Because a lot of times the video might just go too fast, or I might not catch something, but I read it and I'm like, oh, okay, I got it, right? And then sometimes I might watch the video just to see how they might have done something, but then I pause it and go back to reading the rest of the ingredients or reading the rest of the steps, all right? So how-to guides are one of the most popular sought after articles on the internet, okay? Number 2, I think my second favorite of this list is listicles, list posts. Listicles, also known as list posts, typically feature one tip or technique or a point per paragraph. They often used for non-chronological advice, but sometimes some people they overdo it and it gets kind of clickbaity. But for the most part, list-based articles are one of the most popular types of blogs on the internet. And the reason why, and this is really one of the reasons why, to me, the reason why list posts for blogs are, to me, one of the best types of content and why they are one of the most consumed types of content of any content, list types of content. It's because list-based blogs are the quickest way to get information online. So think about a video. If you're going to watch a video, how much time does it take to watch a video? It takes however long the video is. If the video is 6 minutes, then you either have to put it on 1.5 or speed it up, or it's just going to take you 6 minutes to consume that entire piece of video. Sometimes you might not have 6 minutes. This is why short form video is blowing up, because it's giving people information in quicker bursts of time. But even if the video is 1 minute, that's still 1 minute. If the video is 3 minutes, that's still 3 minutes. Podcasts are great long form types of content. People that listen to content already know what they're getting into. We're not, while you do have, there's some podcasts out there that are like 5 minutes long and whatnot, and that's their thing. The average podcast is over 20 minutes in length. And when we are listening to podcasts, people who consume podcasts already know the vibes. They're turning this thing on when they're going to go work out, when they're going to go drive, when they're going to go cook, when they're going to go and wash, when they're going to go do something that they know they want to listen to something to stretch out. All right? So, podcasts are, one of the top long form pieces of content, and people that consume podcasts already know to set themselves up to be able to listen to it, and they're going to be listening to it while they're doing something, and they could do other things, right? They could passively consume podcasts, right? And they want podcasts that have some meat to it, that have some length to it, right? Now, the reason why list-based blogs are one of the most consumed pieces of content is because it's the quickest piece of content that you can consume. So when you see a blog that says five ways to five ways to create a website, what do? We go and we skim. We go right to each point. Okay, this is point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5. You took 5 seconds to see what the main points are, and then you can make a decision whether or not you want to read a point in depth or whether you want to go back and read the entire article. But you got the gist of it in 5 seconds. So that's why list-based blogs, right? Because you could have a list-based video, you could have a list-based podcast. I do a lot of list-based podcasts. And the reason why I do a lot of list-based podcasts is because I timestamp the podcast. I timestamp each point, and I make those points on the website clickable so people can see the 10 points I'm talking about, and then they can go and click on that point and listen to that point that I would have made, making it easier for people to consume the podcast and get the information that they want. Right? But if my point is 5 minutes long on that one point, that's still going to take you 5 minutes to consume that one point, even though I've time-stamped it and made it easier for you, right? So list-based blogs are always going to be one of the top consumed pieces of content online because it's the quickest piece of content that we can consume of almost any types of content, all right? So number 3 is content hubs. And again, we're talking about the 10 types of blog posts that you guys can create on your platform. So what is a content hub? A content hub is an interlinked collection of content about a topic. Sometimes you might have multiple blog posts on your website about one particular topic, right? And this post is going to be a culmination of all of those blog posts. So let's just say you're talking about, how to make potatoes. And maybe you have done, 5 different recipes on potatoes. Now you might come back and make a content hub article saying, "Hey, this is my master list on potato recipes. So here are the 5 different ways to make potato recipes." You have a little bit of an introduction saying, "Hey, these are your top 5 most popular recipes over the last 2 years that you guys have enjoyed. I've just grabbed it and put it all in one place for you." That is what is considered a content hub. So that's again, you're gonna bring all of those pieces together, put it into one blog post, and make it easier for people to now get to other pieces of content on your website. All right. What are we at? We're at number 4. So next up would be a blog post called expanded definitions. So expanded definition posts are somewhat similar to how-to guides. The difference is that they start by focusing on the what before the how, because sometimes you want to understand what the topic is in greater depth before getting into something actionable like how to go about doing it. All right. So when you are typing in something and you already know what it's all about and you just want the steps to do it, you're going to be researching the how. When you've heard about something and you want more information before you go, like maybe you're going to go and do it. Maybe you're going to go and try to burn belly fat. Right? And before you want to learn how to burn belly fat, you want to learn more about, what makes up belly fat. Why does our body store our fat in our belly? Maybe you want to learn more about belly fat before you learn how to burn the belly fat. So you'll have those articles that expand on the what's and the why before you take people or you hyperlink to your article on the how to do that particular thing. All right. So next up, number 5. So number 5, the 5th type of blog post that you should be creating on your website is the expanded list post. This is the expanded version of the listicle, right? Now, an expanded list post, it mimics the listicle in format. The difference is that this format is better suited for more complex topics. So each point on the list it has more meat to it to better explain the tip or the idea. So the goal of list-based posts, remember I said that list-based posts, the reason why they're one of the most consumed pieces of content is because it gives people the information quick and easy, gives them the gist, and they go about their business. But then there's the expanded list-based content where you might have the top 10 things to do, but this is way more beefy. Each point is like a mini blog in itself, right? Now remember, you can do up to 2,000, 3,000 word blogs and whatnot. Like you're not capped at how much words you could use per blog, right? And there are going to be times when you want to create in-depth articles about particular topics. And this helps you in so many ways. It helps you in SEO. It helps build your thought leadership and your authority, right? And then again, people might want the deeper level information about that topic, okay? So number 5 is that expanded list-based posts. Number 6, the 6th type of blog you guys should be creating is news articles, news blog posts. They contain time-sensitive information that's relevant to your business or your industry. This includes industry-wide changes, trends that may affect your readers or be of interest to them, as well as a company, information about your company or your product updates, right? So the piece of news you'd like to share should be brought out as soon as possible, ideally before it goes anywhere. You want this information on your website first, especially if you are covering industry-wide changes. You want to be the first where people hear it from you first. And this is going to help build your push notification list, your email list, because if people are viewing your platform as the one who is constantly breaking news about your industry, then they're going to want to hear it from you first, right? And especially if you're getting it, way before anybody else, then you want to be able to publish this information on your platform and gain that market share before, the other publications or other websites or other bloggers put that information out there. All right, so news-based posts on your website are huge and can do some really good things for you. And again, remember the key to that is time sensitivity. And even if you don't break the news, right? So let's just say something happens and you want to talk about it. You still want to talk about it in a timely manner, but if you're not going to break the news, then when you do drop it within a couple of days of, say, something happening, you want to have a thorough breakdown of what this change means for your industry. So you could break the news and, it doesn't need to be, totally in depth, all right? But if you are somebody who is coming in a couple of days after when that news has dropped, then you better make sure that you have a thorough breakdown of what has happened in your industry and why this thing is important, right? Again, you'll be seen as a thought leader in that space. So number 7, the 7th blog type that you guys should be creating is data studies. So data studies are great, right? This is where you're going to be, doing your own research, compiling data around a particular topic in your industry, right? And then you're going to be putting it out onto your platform. So data research pieces are always good. Again, they do help build your thought leadership in the space, all right? So anytime you guys are conducting your own studies, get that stuff out on your platform. All right. Number 8 type of blog post you should be creating on your platform is case studies. So case studies are like real life experiments or businesses that have succeeded in certain tactics or strategies. They are effective because readers are more inclined to buy into the information when it is backed by proof, right? So to me, case studies are always great because you guys, again, whatever your industry is. So I'll give you an example. I'll do case studies on data that I can extract about businesses and their digital presence. So I'll pick any business I want. I'll pick any industry. I'll start to compile that data and create a case study out of them and show people how the data that I've extracted could be used to help build their digital presence and help target their ideal customers, or break down exactly what their ideal customers are looking for when they are Googling either that business or Googling or Googling things within that business's industry, right? So case studies are always great. They give a lot of really good information, and they also position you and your brand as the leader in your space, okay? So next up, we got number 9, and that is cheat sheets and checklists. Cheat sheets and checklists are, they're pretty much the same thing and may include a breakdown of steps required to achieve a goal, all right? The reason why your cheat sheets and your checklists are so good is because people are going to come to them and maybe they have an idea of what they're trying to accomplish, but they might not be sure about all of the steps and things that need to be done in order to achieve this goal. They're going to be coming to your checklist. So let's just say if the person is setting up a website for the first time, you might have a blog that says, hey, here's the ultimate website checklist. And you break down everything that person would need to check off when they are going about building their website, because there may be something that they have not thought about. There are going to be things where even if they do get the website done, they might not have, set up, Google Analytics. They might not have set up Google Sitekit. They might not have set up their email software. They might not have got the SSL certificate. So, that checklist kind of is gonna contextualize everything that person is going to need to go about achieving that goal. As a matter of fact, I need to go make some checklists right about now. There's a few things I need to make some checklists for. But yeah, that's a blog type that you guys, should be considering. And the good thing is, remember too, right? Even though this is content living on your website, this is also great content for you guys to turn into videos on your social media platforms or carousels on your social media platforms, right? But the goal is when you have this on your website, the longevity is there. It's indexable by the search engines and can bring you traffic over time, right? So number 9 is cheat sheets and checklists. And rounding out the top 10 list is templates. So template blog posts include templates on how to achieve something, all right? So you want to kind of address, what is the topic? Why is it important? How can you make the topic work for you? And the template, helping people achieve that goal, and these templates could be in your Google documents, or they could be downloadables. But again, it's just going to help structure people's stuff. So let's just say a template, for an example, would be like, email marketing. So here are 5 email templates that you guys should be using. Here are 5 sales scripts that you guys should be using. All right. And then people can download these templates, or they could read the templates right off of your website and copy and paste them, and they could use it within their own business. So people are constantly looking for different templates to do certain things. Another templates that, I think I used to Google a lot. Prior to Wave, I was always looking for, invoice templates, right? I was looking for invoice templates. So think about all the templates that we are constantly looking for, and think about templates that are within your business or within your industry that you could possibly create templates for, and then you could either put that as a downloadable, that way you can capture somebody's email address if you want to, or just have the template on your website to drive traffic back to your platform, and then people can copy and paste the templates and then use them however they see fit, okay? So that rounds out my top 10 list of the blog types you should be creating on your website. That is a very healthy list. And again, even for myself, just when I'm putting together the content to deliver the podcast, you're seeing some 2022 stats, and you're like, oh, this is again just interesting and good context, and reminding me of some interesting things. And, seeing the different types of articles that people are creating, that people are searching for, again, just also helps me to be creative as well. And one of the things that I've learned is, reading some of the books that I have read. Everybody has talked about the fact that when they became a content creator, it forced them to be a better researcher. And it forced them to be a better researcher. It forced them to be a better teacher. And they've learned so much in producing content that, again, they start to get information from different sources, and it just helps them, structure their business better because they are constantly having to do and learn, and it just helps them be better as well. And it's the same thing for me. Like, again, for me, I've always kind of stuck to a couple of types of content. So for me, list-based was always the most important, and to me, still the most important piece of content, especially coming from a blogger. I started off as a blogger. List-based were always the most important ones because they were just easy for people to read because we skim, right? And blogs are the only platform that allow people to skim. Think about when you skim a video, you might miss vital information. How many times have you skimmed a video and then you skim to a point and you're like, oh, that doesn't make sense. And you have to bring it back, and you got to figure out where to bring it back so that the point that you heard makes sense, right? It's the same thing with, podcasts. If you're skimming podcasts, you're going to miss vital information, right? And people don't really skim podcasts to begin with. People set the podcast, hit play, and then go, do other stuff while they listen to the podcast, right? But blogs, skim. Make it easy for people to skim. That was like rule 101 for me when I learned how to blog, and I started to learn copywriting and how to make blogs digestible, was make it easy for people to skim. And I've always found that list-based posts did that. When I would do how-to guides, or when I would do questions or comparisons, those pieces of content are really good, but they don't always allow people to skim easily. And list-based content for blogs just allow people to just get in, get the idea as to what you're talking about, and then they can decide whether they want to go back and consume the rest of the content, right? So let me know on social media, reach out to me. Let me know if this episode for you was helpful. Again, if you do not have a website, remember you can get started on medium.com. Start testing out your writing skills. Get in the flow of learning how to write. It's still super critical for you to be creating that blog content. It has the longest shelf life of any piece of content. And remember, like I said, almost every result on the search engine result pages is a link to an article on a website. So if you do not have a website, that means you are not participating in the most used platform in the world. Because when you have social media, right, and you have your username or you have your name, people have to Google your specific name to find your social media platform. But people are not, unless you're famous, people are not looking for your name. They're looking for the questions that they have to their problems or their desires. And a business's goal should be to show up for as many of the searches within their industry. A business's goal should be to create content that allows them to show up for as many of the searches that are happening within their industry. Okay? So if you guys enjoyed this episode, feel free to rate the podcast. Jump on Spotify, jump on Apple Podcasts. Please drop a rating or a review. The reviews help to continue to grow the podcast and grow the Digipreneur family all over the world. And those reviews, help me so much. Just kind of understand what you guys like, what you guys don't like, what you guys want to see more of. So if you can, please do me a big favor. Drop a review or drop a rating for the podcast. All right. If you are not following me on social media, how dare you? I'm joking. You guys could follow me at Karen Rose, KeronRosc, Karen Rose on any social media platform. I'm most active on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok, but you guys can definitely follow me over on Facebook as well or over on Twitter. All right. And yeah, thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. Also, don't forget, we are now officially a part of the Guardian Media team. We started our first radio show called The Digital World. That happens every Friday from 12 noon to 3 p.m. That is Atlantic Standard Time, 12 noon to 3 p.m. at Freedom 106.5. The show is live streamed as well via video, and you guys can listen to the audio. So you guys could just Google Freedom 106.5. And that'll take you to the website where we stream every single Friday, 12 noon to 3 p.m. So if you guys, are not in Trinidad and you want to check out you want to listen in on the show, right? That's every Friday, 12 noon Atlantic Standard Time, Freedom 106.5. It's the Digital World. It's myself, Karen Rose, and Samantha Best, formerly known as Samantha John, because I realize some people don't know her as Samantha Best, but they know her as Samantha John. She was a CNC3 anchor, right? Very popular. So it's me and her holding it down every Friday. And I'm really excited about that, man. I'm really excited about the radio show. We did our first episode last week, Friday, and it was incredible. It was beautiful, man. I love the fact that now, I've been able to hit every single platform. Let me get a boom, bang, bang. I'm now available on every single platform. I'm on print with Newsday, a writer for Newsday. So we're in the print papers. We're on radio now. We have the podcast. We blog. We have the YouTube channel. We live stream. So, I've been able to hit every single medium that I've wanted. I was even offered TV, but I turned down TV because I don't really feel anybody watches local TV outside of the morning shows and the 7 o'clock news, so I had turned that down. But radio, I'm like, man, I'll do radio all day. That's a vibe. And I know that radio is still such a big thing for the Caribbean region. So, I'm super excited when I was able to work with the Guardian team and start our own radio show. All right. So that's the Digital World every Friday, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Make sure you guys tune into the Digipreneur FM podcast. Check out the website, digipreneur.fm. You can subscribe to the email list or subscribe to the notification list to ensure that you never miss an episode. And don't forget to check out the KaronRose.com website to continue to learn how to build your digital presence and monetize your platforms. That is it from me today, folks. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Hump Day, June 1st, episode number 75. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Karan Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Karan Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.